Can I ask you a question about the good great?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be overly combative, but this is relevant to the conversation, I hope.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that
I
all the companies...
I have a feeling I know what the question is, by the way. Go ahead.
The companies that Jim Collins references in Good to Great, I think without a
Yep.
single exception, all suck now.
Yep.
Like if you go back and read Good to Great and it didn't age well. So
Right. That is part of the message of the book, is because they lost that direction. They were mediocre, then became great, and then a lot of them became mediocre after that. It's because they lost what made them great. And even though Walmart is not an example there, they definitely lost their way. Nucor Steel, which is one of the companies that actually is there, is still great. Fannie Mae, another example, they lost that greatness. There's a lot of examples, but he's not talking about like Built to Last, which is like a great company forever and ever. Like they were great. Like what was the event?
All the companies in Built to Last suck now too.
That's true. The point is like at a certain point in time, they were great. And what inside the black box he looks into and says, what brought them there? And then in his postscript, he actually has a second book that talks about this. He says, that's where they lost it. They forgot all the principles that got them to greatness and they couldn't sustain it. And it was either...
I didn't know that postscript exists. That makes me a little softer on him for at least acknowledging that. Good on Collins.
So think about that as like a slice of time. And in that time, they went from fairly mediocre to great. And it wasn't necessarily market forces that did it. It was because of the principles in that book, which I think are still relevant to this day. Question is when you lose like your leader, a lot of cases they lost like a level 5 leader, and that level 5 leader handed it off to somebody who was mediocre and they lost their way. So we could go into a lot of detail there. But anyway, that's a big question a lot of people have when they talk about Good to Great, because I think it is still the principles in the book are really solid. And I think they do back up a lot of what we're discussing here. They also, there's a point in a company where you become so big, all of a sudden you become so bureaucratic. And then you rely on systems and processes to manage people as opposed to hiring the right people, which is a big part of this whole article here, is finding the right types of people depending on, what your culture is. And that right person is different for every business. But when you have somebody who can't compete in today's environment that maybe could a year or so ago, and we've had this happen inside Tier 11 where we've let people go because they just couldn't continue to strive and stay competitive in this world in which we exist right now, which is hyper competitive. And as a result of that, they're elsewhere. They're probably at other agencies, or in some cases, maybe they moved on and started their own business, which is perfectly fine. So
we have a mutual friend who says we release them to the market. Which is the nicest way of saying that.